You said the uncle at all canoa. The obey and the mebano. Nina no contribute to the forward movement agenda of our country. And Anope Sawuti fear na wo share and na utie yenia. I mean, this is the reason tia wo fear. But my na was a major issue say wo hono ma Anope yeni wo nyina no ebe share abom enti ma wadwenche ni nyina no emra 0550 929 0550567929 and no any number shall no pay yade edge wadwenche ni nyina enti what about ye bekin kan ni nyina no e de amount na afi wiase nyina so ate wonka and it is expected that the forecourt of the Jubilee House presidency and at the seat of the presidency I mean ye betimi ahode the national event in commemorating the 68th anniversary of Ghana's independence. And I know, sir, from a year 8:30 Ekoya, such event will begin at the forecourt of the presidency. And stay with us, the Ebeto Fombiano, plus many others, and a national parade and the district ones, you're decentralizing in an air question or bring you more updates on it, not yet to me, and it will add in come. But se uti yenia ma yente wonka na fa wadwen cheri nyina no ebra ye making kind nyina no e the amount in just about 24 hours ago and ye wrap it up almost 24 to 48 hours and on my mono nyina no under the leadership of the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. There was a 2-day national economic dialogue yedi ho enkomo in revamping Ghana's economy the way forward. Nimde for a woman ewo nimde ewo omayin fidi nyuma edwedie ho nsem sikasem ho ntotoye ne nhyehyeye nyina no ekohia mu a womo edi enkomo the 7 thematic areas womo ejina so edi year national economic dialogue. One of the sectors na edimu akotini ye pa no eye energy sector no the sustenance of it ene kwan ya yebefa so ayenkania no the legacy debt ewo ho yebetimi aketa for it na afenkania no nso ebetimi ejina so ma the independent power producers no enya hotoso etimi ede enyinam kania no ede aba. The losses are the Electricity Company of Ghana over the years and over time now womo etimi ayinke ni nyina no issues dialogue no ebobo so anopay we subject ourselves to the energy sector na yede enkomo ewo how it contribute to the entire economy of the state na afi yetimi any nimdefo ni nyina no etimi akasa. But before that, major discussions were held at national dialogue no na the former GNPC boss Dr. KK Sapon and in the team Edin Kitahon Ekasaye at the dialogue on the energy sector and how we can reposition the sector na afi kani ade wo nyina no yetimi eye free ho se oman na afi energy sector no etimi afane ntoma pa efra ma yenko na yenhwe na yentie that session with Dr. KK Sapon on the energy sector yeba to aso anywhere din komo.
Kessben.
There's a social expectation of ECG and NETCO by government to supply electricity affordably to lifetime consumers in low-income households. Obviously, a social policy has got a social cost. Somebody must pay for it. And we believe the vulnerable must be protected in one way or the other. And that means that if we have a fair estimation, then that should be a budget line in the budget, which then will cater for the subsidization. We know that ESLA was there. The question is it relevant? So far as we have legacy debt, we may see whether there's any room for ESLA to continue. But if we deal with the operational inefficiencies, thus we try to be efficient, then maybe don't be much to worry about. There's also some conflict between ECG and VRA as to who should do export, who should do what. I think this must be streamlined so that we can get optimal results. With regard to the legacy debts, we believe there should be a vehicle to raise funds to service the legacy debts, while ensuring all the necessary protocols are complied with. The options include create an opportunity to release ECG equity in fiscal assets to raise funds, a form of privatization, but it's something that we need to be thought through carefully. Then also, VRA has got some thermal assets that we believe VRA and BUI, if they have to run on hydro, then maybe these thermal assets can be put together and in one form or other raise money, either as a joint venture with another person or sell the assets completely, and that money which is realized can go towards.
And that is Dr. KK Sapong making a presentation on the energy sector, especially as to how you bet me a reposition sector. No, but my energy policy analyst Ben Insia Endi and Executive Director Edema Semse na anope meneno and Kasa. Ben, what to make a morning? To say
good morning, Minia.
Give me a fine.
Yeah, me and more Chayan. Who are you?
Michelle, so well, we and we were one side. But my ending in just about 48 hours ago, and the entire nation is here at the Accra International Conference Center just to have a dialogue on the economy. Now, major thematic areas, included the energy sector, major industry players, any expert, one more industry name as suggested ways. The inefficiencies of the ECG, yebetimi aketeli na afeya hwese ebe revamping ho. Again, we are looking at how best yebetimi reposition the energy sector to also facilitate industry growth, and then domestically so acquire yebetimi use the mediums available to generate more revenue for the economy. But utie Dr. KK Sapong, any suggestions are ever halfway privatization of the ECG will be a way to go. Said you bet to be having a blend. Mamintio on the discussions a course so the national economic dialogue, especially on the energy sector.
First of all, I think that Kakra to try and then identify challenges, and almost Kakra to propose some solutions which may resolve challenges. But I think the whole industry, there is this misleading reportage about ESLA. And mostly, people think that the averagely 6 billion Ghana cedis realized in ESLA, or from maybe 5 billion to almost 8 billion, and cumulatively, ESLA may say almost 46 billion Ghana cedis. The misleading reportage is that people think that all the money that is realized in ESLA is meant for the power sector, but it's not entirely true. ESLA being also a energy sector levy act 899 with subsequent amendments. The latest amendment is 1064 of 2021. Now, your energy debt recovery levy, and actually realizing in the year about 2.5 billion Ghana cedis, and that is what it's meant for the power sector and the petroleum sector. We and if you are your road fund is meant for road fund and core power sector. We and if you are your price stabilization and recovery levy is meant for petroleum sector. The subsidized premix and also used them to pay under recoveries. That is forest under recoveries. Yeah. Suddenly depreciating as about this over so or the poor. We and if you are your energy fund levy, it goes to energy commission. for advocacy and awareness creation on energy conservation and efficient utilization of energy. And now you need some discard review, and I think it's one as well. In 2021, let me even say no. Energy drug recovery levy non kwa eshe esla no no. So accumulating from 2016. From 2016, I had this energy recovery levy by September 2021. It is not up to the 46 billion. Obieka 46 billion, 46 yet we've not been able to use it. So we needed to add the energy sector recovery levy in 2021. So we amended the act. Before that amendment, there were subsequent amendments to increase the levies to where they are now, and also we had the Bako count, the Miedo count, that is energy sector recovery levy, which is 20 pesos per liter, and also sanitation and pollution levy. But my main correct had the Bako say even 2020, 2015 Eslano, now public lighting levy. I hear people call it street lights levy, but in the act it's not street lights, it's public lighting levy.
Okay.
And there was national electrification scheme levy, which is to support the infrastructure of the electricity sector. Until we can say 46, we need to critically examine how much of the ESLA goes to the power sector. And then on the more with the true picture, say Sikana Eson and Enson. And over the years, that money no Enson because depreciation of the currency, most of these debt are kind. If they know the challenges and they stated them. Gas supply contract debt, PPA power purchase agreements debt, and other ancillary debt within the sector. And most of them are dollar rated debt.
Okay.
And this is OG 49 pesos per liter power sector debt. Now with the 20 pesos are counting cumulatively now, that is our 69 pesos per liter. So this year power sector data. What my raise in the year now is around 4 billion Ghana cedis.
Oh, so unfortunate. We'll bring Ben back on the line now. Yetimi and Eddie and Komoway. It's exactly 8 o'clock on the dot. But your number is 055-0567-929. 055-0567-929. And no any numbers are yede AJ Wadwin channel. Enti concerns about ESLA and the kwanya yebetimi a revamp the energy sector and no enkomo ada yene wo say. But what do you know eton chenya and the governor of the central bank, I mean the Bank of Ghana, Dr. John Esiama was in Parliament. Now we're briefing Rashid Ekwanya, the new Bank of Ghana. One more danya, one more see ewo enkraha ewo rage, eka one more abo ewo so far. Ma yankona yenti details embra yaba side Ben about line sir.
Respect the governor in his submission is saying that he has forwarded some document to leadership and he hopes that this will enable us ask the relevant questions. But respectfully, we haven't received any document. I think they are now sharing the document. So I just want him to wait for a moment for us to have this document.
This is what it is.
We'll get back onto that audio na yetimiamo, but my main call line so na mene Ben and Chuan Commons. Ben, facha your line no air drop here.
Yeah, until I make sure mono. So in those days, I'm gonna see the year 5 to $1. That's a be ultimately raising 2 billion through the recovery levy. Which means that we were having a shortfall then. And today, it's 15, sometimes even 16 to $1. And this will raise around 4 billion Ghana cedis. What they call service a shortfall of about $2.2 billion. $2.2 billion, we're talking in excess of 30-something billion Ghana cedis. Then, financing governor is huge because 4+ billion Ghana cedis now Esla no, which is the energy side no, and our power side no be only 4 billion. There's a financing gap. So that should have been raised. But normally Esla raised 46 billion in the last how many years from 2016 because implementation even started in 2016. It is to now until we have to be careful how we proceed. Now the second part is that dialogue mostly the dialogue focused on the power sector. I don't know whether because of how we led the conversation into the power sector, discussing ECG liabilities and ECG debt, discussing the whole power sector debt. But beyond the power sector, there are other challenges the whole energy sector is facing.
Okay.
We have upstream challenges. The upstream has not been doing well. 32% decline compared to 2019. Why didn't they propose certain solutions in order to make sure that the upstream a very robust, vibrant investment, attractive, to be able to get a lot of revenue from that side, especially when we're able to explore a lot of wells and then produce. But no solution came from that side, and that is something I think they should have done better. We upstream we've not been able to integrate as a country our upstream to our downstream, especially with respect to fuel side, fossil fuel side. Gas, they are tri-kaka, which is even we are doing 50%. Do we have the potential as a country to go beyond 50% LPG production locally? We do. Because that's all gas are flare, that's all gas are injecting into the wells. Why didn't they propose certain economic integration of our upstream to our downstream so that in the fuel part or the petroleum part, Ghana can have energy security with respect to petroleum? Nigeria, natural gas, they sell it to them between $1.5 to $3.5 million per million British thermal unit. But today, Nigeria for the pipeline, the end gas for 2-year pipeline, the bamai ha, tomaye $8.75 per million British thermal unit, MMBTU, tomaye. Intisanka, injecting gas into our wells. Flare do one in the Kosruno. Sankomo called dialogue Mokase. Say maybe to me are utilizing your gas potential, so the electricity bear full. Today, the price of electricity per kilowatt in Nigeria is far cheaper compared to we believe that Ghana has access. The access electricity access is around 98. It's around 88 going to 90% compared to Nigeria. But in terms of the price of electricity, Nigeria is far cheaper than Ghana because they have cheaper sources of generating electricity. We have the gases here. Why didn't the dialogue mention it? They were mute on that. We and Friwa, your petroleum downstream has also its own challenges. Right. They didn't mention that. Now, the power sector where they concentrated. Madikaka Esland, That's what I think that there's a financing gap they didn't mention. Now, Matisa, say, I think when I heard the tape you played, one of the arguments is that we should have asset sales. I don't know who recommended that, especially for our thermal. Why should you build thermal plants, right? If you can get some from private sector, for example, some of the thermal plants in the southwestern England, Takrady, we got them from private individuals. Ameri was a private company. We got them into the threshold of VRA.
Kessben.
Right? It's a VRA there. Then who thinks again that we should merge? We may think of merging the hydro and making it one authority to cut certain cost and other things. But who thinks that putting thermal together and selling it is the best way? Why should you think selling thermal is the best way? Just to raise the revenue so that at the end of the day, who side revenue now would raise the back because I don't know what time will be nipa no side the generative power asa to amount. I'm also to the back. So who even thought of that right asset sales? Maybe concession will be good, but to say the whole turn in here, some equity swap may be good, or be funny the ambition or shemu kakra, or also the shares kakra bomb, then we may use that excess swap nibino to pay some of our liabilities in the sector. But asset sales, right? Asset sales, who makes that point? So I think that place today need to come back again. Me, I was not part of their dialogue. I didn't attend, but those who are there, Maakye, Kessben, and Appiah, I think they left a lot of ambiguity with respect to the solutions of the power sector.
Okay.
Now, lastly, because we are all time, the last matter in the account is the major problem, the bane of the power sector, and not being able to charge reflective, realistic tariff is because of macroeconomics mismanagement. Adibakwa higher power sector make see the depreciation of the currency. The depreciation of the currency balloons the power sector debt. The depreciation of the currency does not help us to get real-time tariff or realistic tariff, reflective tariff. The entire makers say, okay, send the tariff build-up, send the model your tariff for one, your top products in dollars, right? But Sanka, your product we integrated well our upstream to the downstream. And commit maka say an extra gas and so far as the other day. Say a ton of dollar krana, a beton or for sending Nigeria for ton cheaper anymore. That we modulate in dollars. Now when you modulate in dollars, you have to convert it into cedis to sell it to me, becoming $1 But because of say time no ye quarter na ye deceptive prices no, ye bit more quarter be, na see na depreciate kura. O depreciate kura politician no adwene say me too can ye no more e be hatima mofo no. Right? So politicians need to make trends on one no and also jacka the two. So most of the debt we also record in the power sector our inability with the system losses or the collection rate at a loan. Sometimes it's also because of macroeconomic mismanagement, especially the depreciation of the city. When I was looking at the pointers and listening to them, I didn't hear them specifically stating how we'll be able to manage the city to become so strong that even appreciation of the city to the dollar becomes beneficiary to the electricity user or the end user. So like they know the problem, and the problem we all know it. Everyone knows it because we've been discussing the problem each and every day on Kessben and other media stations.
Yeah.
But I think the solution they proposed were not practical enough to take us out of this quagmire. And maybe some of them even do. The surprising thing is that Dr. K.K. Sapon, who did the presentation, had worked in the petroleum sector for some time, managed GMPC, managed TOR, but even could not mention TOR, which has not realized profit in the last 5 years. He did not mention it. Right? I don't know why. So they did well, but I think that they should have done better to make us know the whole energy sector.
So I mean, in terms of practical recommendation and then the resolution to solve the challenges, with the many issues our reasoning the communique about out any suggestions, is it going to be right to curtail the challenges I was saying?
I think that we have to do better next time. That is my position, and I don't see some of these thematic solutions now, and I say area specific solutions now. I'm recommending on solving your problem. Now, I don't see them solving your problem. I just see that people just when they made their positions clear, and even if you are going to have right selling outright, that outright sales of our assets, it is likely going to be face a serious challenge, especially from the employees of these main companies. Okay, say last year, the previous government thought of it, say or Maakye Hydro, no authority, and then also position the thermal to become also authority on its own. But I think the previous government did not proceed, and also one make recommendation of asset sales. Asset sales is not a bad deal because at the end of the day, yes, we may raise the revenue now, but Nipa no be use assets, you know. I still, how do I even put it? Obey use assets no at your disadvantage because of the cost no. Now the other part now make us say any realistic and in the short term it will not work, you know. The other part Kwame Appiah earlier is also regulatory enforcement.
Okay.
You see, the regulator, whether Energy Commission, whether furnishing
PURC,
because of say buying new man, normally they are not able to enforce laws well. The PURC has set a benchmark, which is even higher. If you go to Kenya, Uganda, some of them they are, even South Africa, some of them, even though their access rate, electricity access is very low, but some of them almost system losses, no, right? Is less than 20%. But if PURC set a benchmark for us as a country that your system losses should be 22%. And you go beyond 22%, it's to 27%. From 27%, I've realized that today people are mentioning 34%, people are mentioning 32%, which means the PURC benchmark now, no the companies, no, which is even higher compared to other African countries, you know. Say ECG broso, say netco broso, punishment ben was the PURC the mom. PURC to be punished. Right? So if you're not able to enforce your laws well, people take you for granted and do whatever they want to do. They don't comply. Imagine, say, one more 22%. Now, what show more iron forces or Mundi 22% no be a fault. Obesro, so a fault. That is a benchmark they are going to work with. But they know that if they don't comply, the other part is that government of Ghana and the can be brave. You can look at the what we call the Energy Sector Recovery Program report or documents.
Okay.
80% of the arrears on the power sector, which also contributes to this system losses, is by the government of Ghana. I didn't know dialogue. No one shall buy and say Piauka.
Okay.
Is it because the government was part of it? So I don't see any. If we want to solve the power sector crisis, we should not be mentioning ESLA.
Okay.
ESLA in the last time from 2016 to 2024, Mr. Speaker, how many years? We cannot use that money to pay the debt. It is woefully inadequate. So it's a tax for Nedibaba. We look at it. But for us to be able to solve this particular problem amicably, no, your macroeconomic stability. We are and also ensure that other people who do not have meters, but they use light, who steal light, all of them, we put them in certain bracket and make sure that they pay. And maybe the attaining of about 98 or maybe 90% recovery rate of the discourse. Which may attain, yes, you're able to solve problem. But see, I'm the GSC in New Armenia. Dialogue say
very well. Ben, Mamenda was here, no pain. I wonder why when your invitation to this dialogue. But in the coming days, communicate no abba, but the proper recommendation no abba meaning say Yebekoswa at the Hong Kong. I'm grateful for your time, man.
All right.
Ben is here, a energy policy analyst, executive director at the Masemse, speaking to us on the energy sector as part of a year, the National Economic Dialogue, a course so in about few days ago. Mame Emma Mabidra for no achi na memba womo akwaba. We are trying our best to get on the line the IPPs, the independent power producers. Na yeni omonso edi hon en komo omo position no anything because mostly no woman they manage the thermal plant and then they come out clearly with the directives say abaya ntua the already existing debt ni bi ama womo ama sika no so antia enya ade a won betimi ama mfidie no aye adwuma. A lot of issues. The West African gas pipeline equally has a lot of issues. Ni nyina no a part of the industry players, but we need to know from them. Enti yensa komo a yedomo ebeba homane so na yetimi edi enkomo. It is only 8:15 aha Kessben 92.9. Mamema Ora Gregory Eric Kwetia Action na wano a former Greater Accra Regional Secretary of the New Patriotic Party and the member of the communication team. Mamema Gregory Action na member na kwaba.
Meje Osuminia
Na apomwe.
Na mi adumo meje
Gregory na Gregory.
Eric Gregory.
Eric Gregory.
Yes, Kwetia. Thank you. Obiane say no pronounce no say name there wa ni tia.
I see.
But
Party what is saying?
Oh, Nyame Adom, MVP. Eguso.
Okay. Greater Accra mu boko there.
Obo ade Adom. Greater Accra so on him say the tsunami fire in 2024 nti afena. Yet to your new manner, yet me, I abo for the 2028 elections. But medical na Maakye Ashama for. Okay. And Maakye many Muslims are fasting. But Mubarak was the Ramadan Mubarak. Many animal every nyame omo ye chiriya. At the same time sooner. In the Christian calendar, I think Lent started just yesterday. So what it means is every person, whether you're Muslim or Christian, you are called to be very pious and you are called to reflect on what you've been doing on earth. That contribution to this humanity is very, very important. Until you know, medical in the Achana, Maakye minias, oye mi senior say makunta.
I see.
Former member.
Honorable Daniel Gesiashaba, former member of Parliament. Honorable Maakye.
Yeah, it is.
Eradiado, mehoye. That was so.
Oh, boko senior. Makunta na on the mefro say trim mefro say me na mama no me sister no worry.
I see.
Makunta no friend me go. Me na mefro na go.
The same thing. You know.
Okay. Nti me cha me bra anyone kasa. Yeso yeshem sa. Ndesi ka ni honti ntu anye parade nti jawe.
Was you got anywhere now? Mo person mo kati mo quote according to your budget.
Oh, say o person o say no de obeka say sika no. Say busia body say wo ho. Say na ye hunu ndra no. Obi tumi ko bobusia say oh my enkudi na ye say na ye tonchi na mu ni wache ni kenke. But say no, send ya ukai no. We are cutting our cloth according to what?
Your material.
Material no swa. You manage no kakra.
I see.
I say nkomo we this is akra. Esikasem and na light esikasem school esikasem koko afum na esikasem. Eni nyina ntino. Baby Ghana during the pa independence 68 years dem be ko try go mi calendar mfa darum pa. Enya. We do ti be pim bi eka kasana amaye wantachi
na remember her.
Oh no dey say no credit balance sheet bia sector bia balance sheet ni wa be won say yanya profit bi wasia e bia odi beji wani no be ka chere so my bafa no cry IMF na edija ho mu minimum se mu jan ne amamene eno ma jan no kakra ko di ni nyina za no makọ so we are on but Ghana will not die. Ghana
will survive.
We all live.
Well, that report, Maakye.
Yeah, Kwame.
That is saying.
Nyame adomara kwa Kwame bende. Honorable Ashaman. Ika mo bona setna wo ti akane kwa Kwame na nkeye. Ya bona setna se Honorable Ashaman ye regional minister Kwame kane ye pa. Maybe now ti o baby no kasembi. Honorable Ashaman. You see Kwame?
Yes.
I hate Nkofo or more need passion for their political parties. They pretend say it's like they don't have a set or party card, or join a party. But Usha in what him know there's bibinti ne be a odi partner selfless selfish interest. More passion for their political parties. Even Honorable Ashaman, Kwame. Apart from say, NDC, you know, everything is about NDC. You get me? So many people like this say you bypass your man, you overlook you or more. Sometimes to honor na ubisa who say mumpunai mo amotia pakamu kra mo se dadwa eskase awom na ye namfo. Kwame appointment na every
Hey, area PRO pa o.
Honorable Ashaban, omo hwe na omo nye bibi. Kwame na se bia de bia kasa asem.
Of course.
Honorable Ashaban, for the past 2 years, 3 years, Kwame.
And the whole
so TV. Honorable Ashaban. Tie radio. Honorable Ashaban. Taking bullets. I be proud as assassin and yefi. But ye be panel with and crank kitibi na sebe omo kaka se twetwe bi di tiano. Oh, they don't even care that the man has been a member of parliament before. He's been to the August House before. Oh, the BJ. Taking a lot of bullets. On facade, no. Or see, this is the political party that can help this country. Kwame, wabua. Aya almost susumi one way.
Yeah.
Almost susumi one way.
Maybe I would do no here Godfather be as on the side.
Kwame.
Say a asama minia from Pont King.
Yeah.
Dan na me bisa sa question say.
Oh,
say obi a presidential candidate. So to 276 constituencies.
Yeah.
At least you know you should have a fair idea of the human resource every constituency. It is say oh yeah appointment now. I was say one guy say balance sheet po say. Ade na oyen e balance ya na. And sometimes one say okay. Shama constituency. She constituency NDC figures are a shaman. NDC since
and then
only 4 years spending on the MPP. That time, and I may be a special assistant at the Ministry of Regional Corporation in Nepal. That was the only thing. All these years, NDC. Ashama for to NDC. Bisa say yeah appointment na. Nti omo ntimi nhwempo embalance. Na sometimes re na nyoma we no. Oti akire a na ya politician na. Media me ebia MPP yen wini krampo no ntini ebia ya mo de last 8 years na. So but eno krampo no ebia na me ka say presidential candidate bia no. Oh yeah appointment na. You see regional balance but at least you know so far constituency bia na utimi the same thing say we balance the whole regions and I mean you and sometimes you know now obi like say this our godfather now ye pray power ne dia ye nyina ne ye pray o one say na ya ba opposition MPP ye mu bi ahomache na meti ha because station we frame na we ka na ye ko ne ye ba ye wini wie dia o pa ko no be di president na we say me san ko pa obi na me ko sere na me ko na as he say afi ade na be ye bi mu dia
power block
abeye bi mu dia e na wo de e wo se wo ba be sere ansa na ye de amount in fact anything ama political parties na na sometimes no this is a opposition in term. I must be honest with you because me MPP say the last 8 years of MPP na appointment crown I had to say this year wo obi bi say kwetia wako hu obi na o bokwetia wo MPP ma yen me ti we me the yen drafted the first constitution a memorandum de koshe MPP mu say you twin ye beto about so me the late Ferdinand Yim Obiamwa the former health minister certain youth wing na MPP your constitution Sabre Andy Appiah Kubi ye nyina me dimusa be ye international affairs officer be ye Owale the whole African Liberal Youth president na say MPP wini a I just say me sign kokosre say kwetia me pe bibiti mo ma me na me ka kopacho na go 40 me conscience ye say ya ma kwetia appointment na say me sad ayinyo na ye kokosre ni ade because me nim say ma som party no pa won say ne o kan no me de me ka kra park wa shama nkola MPP Zate Mashama untimi po you and MPP me the first constituency secretary MPP di wini wa shama check the records. In the year 1995, my assistant secretary, be secretary, my edu wini honorable tay. Sate machama untimi mbo so ye MPP ni. Me papa fie si night market on fe MPP house. Na ye wi a so na say me san konko sre.
Asem ye dika.
Openi.
Na Kwame sometimes regions no so almost disappointed power.
Regions no nya hwe. Na
Dabi Kwame almost disappointed power.
Dabi regions no nya hwe. Say me ka dey see chira wa e be yo ngon.
And people are now
winning.
Can't they do recommendations?
No, Dabi on say. Wo mu winning ye. Regional chairman no for all the regions. Yes, she will be also on the list of human resource. I will free say your man appointment. Ebeye. So I listening in almost to go baby. One fine.
Look at this.
But document no crab out no. Omo be refuse to say enya no kre.
One more fast.
Now Kwame okwa to atwini.
The regional chairman do baby kromo abemu abu. Some of them can come to the Jubilee House or better na ho no mo for over 5 hours, 10 hours. No, that's what
not all.
On to me who am paying. It's the regional chairman or be them.
No regional chairman.
The regional chairman no and the new crofo and one the region more.
And I make a Juma.
So they are supposed to recommend.
They are competent.
That's recommendation yeah. I know. Maybe met me abu bobi sisi ya, but who in here?
But
my embryo
NDC so that I know say NDC a political party. They use former members of parliament and aspirants because we hear the history. Obi say say doing Ketia
is that appointment in area aka your friend
is a ministry na say
ministry.
Ministry they say asan. Say they are president
deputy see and name CEOs na kakakra bi
MCs
MMDCs and also crowd your form for no again ambassadorial roles.
Hey, you're very careful. I think can say a creative problem Kwame. Because you sir Debbie I kase Mr. Kweti I kase you will be shechiri or ye do be silently we don't ye hunu ebi an the duma no awoye no emma public no so e wadi mu sene obi original platform so awoye dede ba Kwame ye ti aye kwa ye be ye di nkomo pa o ye ni party mpanifo di nkomo pa se obi ye aduma ne so backstage ye hu
so far no
you understand
but
obi ti say Bridget Otu
and I ebi CEO appointment we oti region nya CEO appointment
the whole
CEO appointment
let's okay say CEO appointment
there is nobody
and come say more there
here I say
but nana what hu ade ba ko bisa ho say in politics do you politically exposed person any wa wo share tire a wo de obi animu no why na risk pa e woni so me catch me call baby na me kwa pa de bi papa can say oh Eric I wish I could help but because you are a pep that was what he said
because you are
pep politically exposed person so he can't deal with me
even after by parliament I got a job.
Kessben.
I applied for a job. Even my name was on the list for a long time.
Wow.
Mitiwana amu friend. Amu se amu general manager. Not knowing the people have not known that I've been to parliament.
Okay.
Yes, final analysis. Oh, the salary was fantastic. Cry at parliament.
Ntina we when yaji.
Yaji. When you visa me, when you kaze o mako parliament asa, bezindo biam friend.
Kwame asma ye can be new.
It turns the
so exposed.
Una war expertise said then.
They will not take you.
You're dedicating the time nina Kwame. Since you say all the cycles
no be share chiro
from the youth wing ebesi ahimfubu to the clergy. No obi anya happy about the appointment ekoso. Yes, even the clergy.
Yeah.
Kessben.
Asofo amu take bullet padima
NDC Niger Gazimo.
Why are they? How come that today?
No, station, your sister station, be so and now Obun Kotoje, Esrese, Yancheno. Come chacha. Saturday, yeah,
because it's you, the year one. One fact to my good paper is out. What in the catlama and the paper is out.
It's half after 8. But my home messages, no, Ebra. But the best your Shama because not buying Anna Abbas say the party ne wa ban mo. Let me put it that way. Now, National Economic Dialogue was one of the promises President Mahama and the NDC gave to the Ghanaian people. Say within 120 days in office, as part of their promises, will deliver a National Economic Dialogue. And indeed, Omotimi are fulfilling that particular promise. Mami Shasia was Honorable Shama for 10 minutes. Na Mintio on the engagement course a few days ago. Na Yentos.
Yo, Mr. Speaker, me da say, and Mr. Chair, me no telephone in no move.
But your microphone is brown in kakra.
Me nim.
Yes.
Say
yes.
Okay. Senya ukaye no. Before the elections, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on the campaign trail, we promised Ghana for say, win election, there will be economic dialogue, national economic dialogue. Inti ehona SMB Simon say, why did he say so? Adentina okasa assemblage. So you realize that from 2021 pa dear. We say Ghana sikaseme jumani bibia echere pase enyaman koye because se oko education sector ube say ye oil scarce ye mfanhwe nkoda no but ye nkoda so TV so say omukita plate say comedy omo so you ask yourself what has gone wrong. SSA Then when you go to the road sector, we also Mampenya catches 13,000 kilometers of road. But at the same time, if you go to some parts, especially Western Nigeria, so you ask yourself, what is happening? Meanwhile, money is going. Now, when you move to the energy sector, here, Kasa Sisea, they were hosusu. A Canada hosusu 70 billion ni dear no work and wakuma too. So what has gone wrong in that sector also? Then employment side, you're talking yakasa afa planting for food and job. Ediani ni ho employment susu emma. Uko cocoa sector it has happened say cocoa board kradika yakojiska 330,000 metric tons of cocoa sika yaji cocoa nukra nko sika no susu asan PBC dan ye auction. So all these issues are pointing to something called problem, crisis in this country. I will say obibia obeba betina kunja so no, you have a job to do. But that job cannot be done by one person. As I say, you're gonna for 18 say unya sikani bidi in the previous government one year new. As I say, nyina ensan betenase na yedwi hu say ye den amaniema ayiye.
Okay.
The banking sector cleanup has brought a lot of hardship to the people. Job losses, people lost their businesses and all that. Inti enusu ejina ho. So looking at all these problems, if you go to the health sector, omampenya watina konjasu 8 years. Wa bru loan sa 631 billion Ghana cedis no. All kofie no and o say afedie me ba besi agenda 111. Yay, 111. You don't have what source of funding baby asika no be free dia yes ade no eni ho. Inti ndesenka MPP na asa wini power. They are going to go a borrowing again on top of 631 billion. So there is clear crisis. And no other all this in Ukraine. But here, ye nisika enkoda komudiomu cocoa for nya free fertilizer no. Yes, at $58 million say ye kwa kosi asori dan. Eko we say asori dan no ni ho. E bonkwa ne da ho. So what does this call for? It calls for concerted effort from everybody. Tom, Dick, and Harris, and I can word literature. Say obiamra na ye dream the best way forward. Betre ne ususu wan say enu na ye how. Say na ye brother bra ekasa or TV so say even though or say you are inviting.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know say invitation there be a matro I don't know because I saw myriads of people there from different political classes.
Okay.
But I don't know why they didn't. So okuse. But we should continue to share the ideas in here. So to come to the table, we need these people to come out, share ideas. Let us see what we can do for the nation. How do we solve cocoa problem? Because Ghana is cocoa and cocoa is Ghana. And Nuna Etumima is syndicated loan in billions. Yetumi edibua eso niema sini ewo krom ha. Yetumi bu edibua etodien fertilizer edichiche ni akatia drodima ekuafo. So you realize that at the end of the meeting, communique eba no na echre say they are recommending say abansan dan ni enfanhwe cocoa ekuafo ni cocoa dua land reclamation because of the galamsey assassin man say no ato ye be jan no sa debi de na ebeye esese ye reclaim assassin na endua cocoa na endua be na endua nka. That will lead to the economic empowerment or development of this country. Then also you realize say emranteni baba wanka omuye galamsey no bisa wonsa denti no omuye galamsey nipa be didi.
Exactly.
Nipa be didi. I agree with them.
Kessben.
And to me the problem everyone omu wa techem ho problem no free nipa or sponsor say munko na munko eduma but he didn't prepare to do the thing well. Muye no biara nipa okosu no o say o mi kwa ende bia menya 50 and 100 Ghana cedis e dey ahwe me ho. But such persons too must be catered for in this national economic dialogue. Ni say if we are replanting, we need to engage this youth. Omuye juma no, we need to find resources to give them some stipend because nipa no koye juma at the end of the day SSODD. So this is the way the issues came up at the end of the economic dialogue. Say we tackle this problem. They talk about the energy sector, what we should do, the 84 accounts that were created. Government has already ordered, or the Minister of Energy, that it should be one. We look at that aspect too. How can we do to bring the IPPs back? How can we increase the gas production at Atuabo, which has fallen, let's say, from 100% to 70%, 30% gone? How can we handle these issues of energy crisis? But on my personal note, my mimbisa say, power, electricity, no? Ye craft Americana. Ye craft power, say na AG fiber optic, every abroad no, ye use no, energy susu electricity ye craft free ho, anam fidie na ye gi free ho.
Enye fidie ne free.
Enye fidie. Inti sukwa ye ko okrum ha no, ne fa so ne sen. Because it is so disheartening say de bia ye ti ho a na ni boy di na eto no dollar as electricity ankasa no ye to free America. So what are our brains doing? Do you get it? The meter manufacturing, and transformers, yeah. Now those metals are used for the cables. Say ye be what tema? Ye be. I've been there myself before. Time I'm in private sector. So why can't we give the resources support to these indigenous companies to the biana and na ye calculating in dollars in there. But when you take a critical look at the resources, if we are serious, we can mine our resources to get some of these things. Why are we still sitting down talking about dollars? Yes, the exchange rate is the problem. Yes, this is what we say. In the 2022-2023, Addison a printed Sikamana Nadu, it has shot up the inflation to 54%. That sickness, that canker is still with us, and it is affecting all sectors of the economy, every sector. Because say we catch say be electricity ni nyama ukoton wa brocha. Say dollar na obesisa. Na say no na nka first $6 for 4 cedis and now 5 6 cedis no. Say we be 15 cedis and now equal 16 cedis. So you see that inflation yankasa ye generate o maimu. Ye generate o maimu no. Sa yare no egusu kuye. Ti say na COVID ekunipa. And we must look at these things passionately, because we can't continue like that. When we talk, one of the brother can say we are not paying realistic taxes. Enkosi da ben. Enkosi da ben. So because of dollar, so because of our recklessness, no, onhania onifinu, ontia bill no to a certain level. At that particular point, I don't blame him. He is an expert, right? But then about Takunyasunu, we must look at how to use our local material. Time I mean, training college, you know.
Yeah.
They taught us to use what? Improvisation. How to improvise. Ye workroom ha India for uko spintesa. Do you know India for to me importi knock down ni omwafa Ghana dia no ma assemble. Na yesi ye electrical gadgets ewa ha. What are we doing with all our educational na ye kasa de bia na ye changing policy there? The education we are having is not reflecting on our economy. We are still doing, said former Chief Justice kind. Yeah, we are still doing the Kessben thing. And that is our problem. So the economic dialogue, just look at Mr. Ghana Nibia. The economic dialogue decisions are not totally binding. Okay. They are proposals. Nti afe na enunti na to for sekase ne omuka ni nyina say abana kasa jatuma, you hold them like a Bible. So Ghanaians, let us continue to bring more ideas about these sectors. And na susu ma min kan kire Ghana for. You see, say positions Ghana say now say election winning, but now didn't move present all in the name of the money. They are just looking at money. Why are we not doing that? Those who are lifting oil no mum per se yenye to, because they are lifting oil every month no munyaska. Inti se tall a producer oh nyaska nuntinu oh we krani boydi we kana say that is selfish interest. That selfish interest must stop. And we should stop crumbling for areas that, oh, this is where I'll get so much money. When you have at the back of your mind, say, this is where I'll get so much money, the nation crashes.
Okay.
That is where we are today. We should bring our policies and our brain uko square. It is not just only about money. Nyansan wako shan was school fa bua on mine na yenye juma no mani nye. So those who are lifting oil, they should listen to me. It is because of them. It is because omu no mu pesa mu bua na yenye Ghana ye. Sika omu bobusa edi lifting oil no. Say di bua to can't we refine oil here?
Very well. That is the former member of parliament for a year, Buem constituency, Daniel Kwesi Ashama, honorable member, member of the NDC as well. My member a year, Urakweti Asoda, being here on so member of the Neo Patriotic Party. My member also,
Kwame, Medasi.
Kessben.
Economic dialogue.
Yes.
I'm say, Adia Bakuna Mestre say, Yan Sheni pa. I say political party be elections are. So be you do manifesto.
And ever.
God. So the manifesto no year will foundation. Until say oba abaimwa, then you would have to implement it or manifesto, and then you bet you can say a brown position in your mom can't on at least in the first 60 days or more achieve quite a lot of them, and one is the economic dialogue.
Because they promised that
they were going to have an economic dialogue. And I think say because the idea say a economic dialogue nintino obi adwin be say only sikasem kwan ye ka ho asem, but I think say it borders on all the sectors as far as a country's development is concerned.
Okay.
But be out in now so we be economic there. You kwa kwhwese sika nkwa. But agribusiness.
There were thematic areas, about 7 of them.
Yes.
Infrastructure.
Advice Pesemema, and which I think say Professor Gachikra can say the last time I share had no can say Kebeya nka yen pe kwan bi ne yemfa mrantale achiri nanka every infie na bia no nanka yetimi atena se ebu nkompo, because I think say an unexamined life is not worth living. I think say Socrates,
yes,
or Aristotle, one of them. Nti a country bia o ye bibia ebia at a point in time so bu nkompon kohwe ade na amaye no empempenso ben de dimi akwa akodu na pempenso na madu no ba bia me pese me duru no de me bedu wa na hwe na me kon I think that is the essence of all this thing. Now mestre so say em say obetie na bi obi ka say invitation minji ni say such a gathering you betimi invite you bia but another area I bet my possible is that ombema kwanyama ebia a month or 3 to the dialogue no mama kwan say every person bia wo nimdie wo bibi ho no you can submit a paper okay. on it. Now I think say ye ne sa ebia na obi ti mikrom kentampo or document bia o hwe the economic opportunities e wo ho
ambo yiri krom din say kaja krom say so selfish.
Enti the my contact was it be bob be kaja krom me ko ho no ma me hu akikaduro pa.
Oh yes,
Enti o hwe the energy sector ya kwa ye ba nyina no the system losses na ye nyina ya identify no kwan ben ye be solve this problem because
privatization the best solve here na
I would say that is where na a man me beside me who question say so are we saying say adwuma na ye government dia a state agency eno de nipa ehwe so no omo sign performance contractor na I think say now we need to develop such a thing say I think say the last time it is na siga at the bibi say ba say state agencies na omo CEOs ni na en signing a performance contract inti o be fa agency na e was say CV no crowd be ba nya wo CV say wo kra wo masters and what your PhD but for organization no na hwe organization no the challenges na hwe organization no the opportunities na hwe organization no baby e wo no na kire say mo de mamia mfie num me de be kwa akodu ha te say de ye fa coach e ye ma no no ye si coach we ye ma wo say fa ye ko world cup anameboa
yes
want me amfa ya nkwa ye ni wawi simple as that. So going forward as a country because ye nyina nim say the energy sector no very critical to our industrialization and can unemployment to any ade and yes do 15% say timi energy sector no na stable na other areas because you can energy now you are talking of even even Ghana Water Company crampo say I don't see energy yes because only one year you are who to me survive as a physician meaning say one you can't survive because your body is 72% water and so you need water every day be also on chairman to come and answer one musu ye be brem han e be man to come and answer one musu but Kwame when him say water pipes e be here me be say me ho sa question say they say that senior can ye ko school ni esua planning na e dey den pa because it's amazing so be corner pipelines no ebi sisi kwan so ebi yaye na sisi kwan so we be say ho say hwan mo na ye because ye nyina e wo mind we mu and in the last 10 years
ebi cry asphalt we na say be tap
yes
na be pipe
in the last 10 years na emre bi ba say o ye electrician crumper you need to be certified mebo ana
by the energy commission ye hwe sa ade we pa ye hwe area ye betimi develop because districts bia no I was see enya officer bi o ho a certifying officer I be say district bia no electricians are in the wa ye it is energy economic dialogue when say e ba say untimi fa one economic dialogue and solve the country any problems in any possible a big crazy that is never possible o fa ni po no mu trimu do say the community but e ba be ye continuous e be man ye hu say the last one ye share no ye set the benchmarks we mu say to say the way communicate na ba no o ma set areas ye o say sector bia e fine tune no into your minister sa ofa o ministry
advice any proposals are senior kind proposals are the amount. No what how ube situate our proposals no into going forward as a country. Ebra ye say na say economic dialogue no biom aye bibia emfie nan bia na emfie miensa bia na yakwa kohia yakwa na yaka say okay in the last economic dialogue no ye decided say energy sector realistic tariffs
and our goals.
Yetimi ye how percentage when yetimi ye are we getting to where I was saying government agencies some the ECG ka any ade how is government also paying because you say government a lot of agencies are the ECG ka how are we working on your generation capacity IPP independent power producers contribution no and then there challenges or what as a country also then you find sector by sector I think say and no super Buama Ghana National Development Planning Commission so afa ni yetimi hu your medium term plan your short term plan and then our long term plan so that political party bia ye bibia obeye in the frame of some of these things na nkoye say obetena se na wasesa wadwin say o me kwa akoye bibia na ekwa kofa problem ba because Kwame
the National Development Planning Commission had a 40-year plan. Momo buy more the 10-year plan right? I remember so clearly say mo develop a 10-year plan. I mean Ekosi is saying where your manifestos coming from the 40-year plan and our 10-year plan are more the buy.
Kwame, so say as not American and na also reason. Yes, economic development history no. See, I say Kwame Nkrumah a 7-year development plan.
Yes.
That was truncated. Buzia took over. Also, the development plan by Buzia did decentralization, sa policy no by. But you don't pen so baby we are say kono. Say okase obefa policy, obeya plan bia na ochina what drop it. Now wakofa bi before fra. E clearly say unim baby awko. Because kwesi Kwame, when who say ofa one of the thematic areas was the private sector development. As a country, are we still going by the centralization? Say, are buying and creating jobs and now say, yeah, my private sector, no, yeah, empower senior kasano or say, yeah, what companies or meters how are we putting these companies? How are we financing, support them? Viable. Because advanced countries say Germany money government does not create jobs. Government business is to create an enabling environment. Okay. Because we are saying so obiaye na dwen say aban ba bebie ndwuma aban bebie ndwuma obetena ho abohu say na why disillusioned. But we have the private sector. How are we going to empower the private sector? Kwame, when you say Ghana, if you financing entrepreneurship, there were almost about 4 agencies. National Entrepreneurship Program. There were Maslow. And now the current government is also yes. So which one is doing what?
Duplication of roles.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Maslow who besides some form books umbra. They don't even know the people how to collect the money.
Same as enterprise agency.
Then you have enterprise agency. First, now NBSSI and the enterprise agency. But into young you bet me a mom na every district biano or more office or more attending to people so that they would see because Kwame, so obi person or call into private business crampa. Sometimes or nim de no ho, but enyoma kakra bi or de beka ho ebetimi ama ade na gina no e na oni.
Yeah.
Nti that area also needs to be looked at.
Okay.
Because anya sadia then we are really in a very, very difficult situation because yen bear in mind say your population your population continue to grow. Nti if your population is growing what you call exponentially, then resources grow arithmetically, you are going nowhere as a country.
Very well. Mr. Speaker.
For about 8 years, I'm thinking about this. As a second, you see, we need think tanks or a ministry of think tanks. I would say we are talking about a national development plan.
Yes.
Nti yebepe nipa binu keke no ma a develop na ya jayako. There should be a station, a research station. As I say, every government should be anchored to that. They give you the national direction. Their job is that they go back this national development agenda. Omu monitor as a government what you are doing
as a tracker.
If you are not moving on track, they call the government to call you to line. If we don't do those things, we cannot. Look at us having lands, but how to make laws? PPP Act 2020.
Yeah.
How to make laws for individuals to release even land to the government for commercial purposes. No, to me. Nsasia nkruma sizi ye anaji ye nkwa ene obesi ndewo. Se kra ye pese ye mfansi dan. Wan ho bibini. Ye pese ye mfa ni nyina mfansi dan. Nie wo hososo no, maybe it belongs to the king or the chief in the area. Now we need to fashion laws to take this land to the in such a way say on hini a oja asasinu ma ban no will profit. Nipa okwakwa ye duma wa asasinu susu will profit. Government will profit and we move on. These are the things that the think tanks should be doing. Sitting down, the PPP, the energy sector, we should have something like that as a research station. Ebe tumia buaba, enu seye wobi sa minya taxi driver krabe tumia ye president or krumha. Because these people are the people who are going to guide you.
Yeah.
Give directives. Do this, and that there should be law. The review of the constitution should make it in such a way say what this agenda, national development plan. Uba president say usi uniswa. There should say military kra omuntu ufra kunjanu so because you don't have to use your parochial interest to derail the national agenda. So these are some of the things we should be looking at going forward.
Very well, may I say it is only 57 after 8. Hi, Kessben. Your number is 05505679929. Now, what the Wagen channel, Abba. Now, every ball, my remarks should have been to your kakra on the economic dialogue. Now, Ian Trust.
Yes, Kwame. So, when you see here, Kwame and lectures. So, you have a few to say. But you see, Debbie Amekase, President Mahama. Sa reset agenda na no wakano. Kwame, it may be a political statement. But a idea me free say esenki na ye jitum. You understand? Say we NDC, we NPP, we CPP, whoever you are, let's adopt that word. Nanka Kwame ye who say baby we have failed as a country. I hate saying that. Say, we are marking time. I hate saying say Ghana, we are failed country. But we have failed. Though, some areas who say we have done better than them. Countries ni biwa yebetimi say yakuye nimsi womo. But who should be a ye free banwa? Any those countries where they are coming from. Kwame. Tabulation now who say we have failed as a country. So sa reset agenda no Kwame. Ese keye tembia yedi na yajia tum nyo obia ba oba ye de. You see, that's another failure. Obia ba kro ba ye de another failure.
Yeah.
So anki me say we have failed. Now we are giving ourselves to 2040. You understand? This is where we want to reach or achieve. We are starting afresh. That is the meaning of reset. I have come to realize that, Kwame, President Mahama reset is not sebia yebe grow, yebe sisi infrastructure, yeba beyesi bebesi. Nemum, he has realized that ebia baby anan combine na ye penon so from independence. What shall call for blocks? What shall call for say manifestos? What shall call for policy think tanks from those days. Baby, I don't person do on mind quick, how we took off on a whole resource in Yenya. So we need to reset everything so that Abaya Bebano, the subsequent government Bebano, Kwame, no on my free. It's like you are creating a frame out there, Kwakwa Kwame, say Yanyan to me say we have failed country. We keep marking time. Because 68 years, Kwame.
Yeah.
And more 25 years and the military junta took 25 years. And we describe those years, they say, wasted years. What about the 43 years? The 43 years for the civilian rule, Kwame. Where have we reached as a country? 68 years. With exception of fashion, any creative. Every aspect of this country we have failed. From security to health. ABC, agri, wherever we have failed woefully. I'm telling you, Kwame. Share.
Who sector be a grower? I said that.
Yes,
yeah. Because as a country, you know,
68
area
years
of expertise in terms of looking at your comparative advantage with other countries. You know, this sector there, yet me grow in a year.
Fantastic, Kwame.
Unique selling point.
Yeah, nibi.
No.
Unique selling point. Yeah.
68 years.
That's where we need to work on something.
Yeah. I said what carry so Kwame Modu.
Yeah.
Corruption rate
For 68 years.
yeah, corruption.
Then you still call energy experts to sit down to talk about energy crisis in the country. Kwame, you have failed. 68 years.
Light into me, sir.
Still, your light into me. You don't have any plan. Say Ghana, your population, you know, you go say this is what we want to do. Abaya ko esi buida ye atema abwaze tema plant whatever ye kekabo still we are still marking time. That we have failed as a country where people are using wind power. Donata, I was asking Ben about the wind power. Was it very expensive because say all migrating from harbor crowd or elsewhere? And I'm saying no. If it's about harboring from Tema to other destination, it shouldn't be a problem, Kwame. People are using wind power. Morocco, they had a power crisis for about 30 years ago. And they decided to tap wind power. Say, from an airborne, Yabane Mongukwa. Yes, and they have a wind power a Libya and one side until say a pona aswatch and a bejabo. And yes, and they be a power back off. Now, countries in the southern part of Europe, some of them borrow power from Morocco. Yeah. What are we doing? Congo, Rwanda, South Africa, and Nigeria have started. They have started using human excreta. Excreta, feces, seven previous Sabia, and they generate electricity. Sabi. And Kofu Jamana Vienna. Yedi kogu Japan say amenemuno, and they have using it to generate electricity. When you go to Kumasi, Professor from Paul Boateng ne danya the fear wo odeno ho kwada so. Oju so fight is energy generating electricity. Onu akasa na elejana. So what are we doing as a country? 68 years, we are still marking time talking about power crisis. We are third country. Yeah? President Mahama went to Akweside or winning election. And the first Akweside, he said something. So you'll be a seven. What you do, partners, and I say you paid attention to President Mahama. Unu say, well, or catch say we are failed country and we need to reset the country. Or catch your two for say, Nana. Oko other countries are they are reserve cities. You said that tell you. You said that cities say BBC our the capital. They quickly will switch. You remember that word that Okano mentioned palace. That's what President Mahama said. What is he trying to imply? He's trying to tell you that when you go to South Africa, the gap between Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Cape Town is a few.
you wouldn't see difference.
Yeah.
You go to Cameroon, the difference between Douala and Yaoundé, Libya, Tripoli and Benghazi, no difference.
Yeah.
You go to Egypt, Alexandria, Cairo, just name them. Even Cote d'Ivoire.
Development, no, almost at par.
Yes. Abuja and Lagos.
Yes, the same.
Cote d'Ivoire. Last Christmas, I went to Abidjan. I went to Abidjan. Yamoussoukro and Abidjan. They're so different. They are developing Yamoussoukro. Then you see it. Kwame, you
deliberate.
Kwame, one more asama okay. When you say they asama they be me come see your land management crowd or Ghana ha. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Ube who virgin lands. When you be ba so no, ube kono obi si ade te say dey this cement gum te set it no. Dey cement gum this si dan no. Ube ko si we si fie.
Yeah.
And we are allowing all these things happening.
Yeah, Kwame.
Okay, no be say and now because even your tenancy agreement say of kind dan you say 6 months, but yet your mind we landlords edge 2 years, they don't pay anything to the government.
Yeah, because
all these things are happening in this country.
We don't have policy thinker because everything is politics in this country.
Partisan politics.
Let us do this to save the situation so that our political party can win power again. Because me say osuma si nyesi. Abrante bi kokofa ayi buy paint or the free France and the bar. No the bag Ghana Kwame. Painting was about 400 containers of paint. Beautiful painter, indelible. In soap and paper. Papa. What the bag Ghana beton. And I'm told say the paper or crap painter or political financier blocked that people say mamu from Ghana because no ton paint. You be good at Juma. So the guy had to use our shops and the collaborator and Cote d'Ivoire is politics. We don't plan ahead. You say tia Ghana onum. O danyani anu sorry. We don't only adebia so Ghana na minim say in the next 10 years or 5 years. Me do star level we say. Here I was watching a documentary. When China, Kwame, reaching 1.3 billion in population, they have realized that China for almost accommodation a problem, some population
population
and
growth.
They were on much vast land. Enter into some of the boundaries countries on share border. And do you know what they are doing? They are building boarding housing units. The boarding housing unit they said they are achieve. And on it's like 2-3 bedroom, hall, toilet and bath, street in the garage, and they're affordable. And what you find about affordable? Boarding one, almost built 400 million units. And almost build they go up for Enchirima in the future. When you watch that documentary, it is the deliberate policy about Biaba and then it's what was. You understand? Affordable house, you make attempt. No be a jaguar, no be a saglame, no we are baby ye. Then affordable housing, a sick affordable housing. Then we defeat the word even affordable. Sure, Kwame, and you're very sad as a country. We call ourselves, say, honorable Ashamaika cocoa issue.
Yeah.
Be say abrofu she ye pa. 7 previous. Obia no esen come e busiada.
Oh,
because
because
7 we have become like a useless country. It was show obia na we the second largest cocoa producer in the world. Ona na aye one. Number one.
Now did you want
what did you want grandma obia ba be catch up? And we have no idea, no plans to catch and rest our first spot. You understand? All what we say, we are content with our second position. And even our second position is shaking.
Yes.
Nigeria, Singapore, Malaysia are chasing us. You understand? Now listen to me. Cocoa na ye producing. From those days I cover cocoa they buy this country. We are still ye yusu machete and the pie cocoa. Yeah, the second about cocoa. China for no obefa cocoa or Ghana or the aqua China. Their first export, they had $69,000 out of my Belgium. They want to tell Belgium for say Ghana cocoa is being polluted by science. Yeah, the Nura said. No problem. So they should buy omu cocoa, and they are ready to give them a quality cocoa in the years ahead. You understand? Chinese boy I invented machine. Yeah, the bo cocoa. Yeah, that's why you so kotokro the bo cocoa. Kwame, she say Belgium on the fa cocoa. Who read here? A United Nations Comtrade. Almost say Belgium. Obu cocoa do 29 for Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. Belgium last year almost fetched 5.5 billion euros from cocoa products. Amoye and some cocoa chocolate including $5.5 billion. You understand? Okay. And the 3.3 export. Tell you, yeah, na cocoa in this country. What we were able to fetch from cocoa. $223 million. So you ask yourself, say, oh, this one, can't we invent machines? And no matter what this country did, their Belgium phone used to do cocoa here. How come that we are cocoa producer, but we cannot buy cocoa product in the country? Yeah, young kuwa ya di cocoa young kuwa ha. Ye timinto, ye di cocoa ya leka, ye timinto, ye di cocoa, and your chocolate. We cannot buy it. How come? That K University is there. Speaker, I'm not saying university is there. Yes, a technical whatever. But Kaukunu Junction, could you believe say a traffic light SL for 2 good years? Yes, it's a fan for free China for ba and son of my back. Jesus Christ, hey, Joe maybe yeah, China for the China. Traffic light. Oh, Kaukunu Junction.
No one bet. $1 dollars.
But now I say,
it is associate himself dollarization and see one of the challenges of this economy.
40 minutes after 9, message about BM yet to me Eddie Kobona and Bank of Ghana governor was in parliament. Now there was a reporter Maakye on the newly constructed head office of the Bank of Ghana. But Mamin Koye Jumay Embra. Na meba yebede ho enkomo mamene imbustaba Mr. for Eddie enkomo simedu Embra. Yeba na yatu enkomo die so Eddie feel. Stay with me. Yeba. Acho imbusti die ibusi music system. Na ebua epeja ohona makwa no mu ama wo mo echi ni ya bia ene imboso ba ye yarea she so ana kan wa to hono ni nyina no etuo etwa obapa ma che te say
Nyankopon ado Mr. Speaker
bia fine
Crystal ado bia fine
imboso for ho ye
nyame ado ye nyina ye ho ye boost nti nyame ado ye ni pedua ne wo so nyare wa nyina ego
I see eko ye
pa eko pa mati uni problem kwa mama nti na me dia ba
my ni nkomo ona mi nti on free imbusta share
yo Mr. Speaker me da sina ya tena se de ye na Nyankopon asibiem se wode ache ye na Prisweti for nyina no ye mama kwa babim abadwumadi kase so any free sharp help said the matter that na sharp help say na ye imbustable Mr. Yesanman say police ni no edro no ebi enisi manimu say na tie na wunya bi no mo a enye package no na efe keke ne mum no edro na nkasa so eye adwuma yie pa che say ewura nipadua no ma say de me brother ka kire wo no wo se e boost immune system no na abo nipadua na ma natumi ako adinyarewa so nkunim sa na tie pepepe asem ne yetiawa nipadua woni immune system woni nipadua nim no se no wa ahoden a ye nipadua na nkasa timi ko edi nyarewa nyina so nkonim eti na ewu tie me na se ya arie bi chetew yare bi how yare ota yare repa na chese nkwamo e woni padua nim no na ahoden no ekofom na enema bebre su na nipa ye ya ema ye nkwamo no ahoden kofom ti na wotwe yasema ye kanyina ne se immune system de na ahoden enyina eye imboostable mixture enti imboostable mixture as your immune shield eno ene no eka ho asem se wo di imboostable mixture eye obambofo ama immune system na nasa nkwamo ano enti nkwamo e woni padua nim so opese obo ho ban a na wo se wo di imboostable mixture ema ni padua no ya number say didi juma 0246 20 84 96 0246 20 84 96 and 0540 71 01 13 0540 71 01 13 medofo na meka bibi se enioma bebre na nipa ye ya etimi ma ye immune system no na hoode ekofom yembre ni so a na enso so ebebubo kakra so ni a kire osenti a wo se wo di imboostable mixture mani padua no na nkwamo ano enya hoden ewiase anasa asase so ewo ye wo lifestyle enioma bebre factors bebre a ema immune system na hoode no kofom ebi eye yedidie poor diet na chese wadidie na nkasa won hyeda eni di ye anasa onuane na wudi no won hyeda enya balanced diet nutritions na ewo mu no ewo form kire enuane nuro na ewo waduane a wudi mu no se wo form u sugar nuane a wudi no edoso a chen said de wudi vegetables ni we na ebetimi ama wo how aba nkwamo a ye ka ho asemi eso ebi ana wadwuma a wo ye unya kwan tinitini wo mpom adwuma no wo sori kwa anopa na wote ho no ma wote AC asesa wontim wo bibia osomane akofa ade abrel wo so so a wo sori no wo anya exercise bia eno wakote na sesa wo ba fie no abedidi no wa da eno na wusu awo ye mepacha wanhwe a ebetimi ama nkwamo ano na hoode akofom nanso ni nyina mu no imboostable mixture wo ho se epeja nkwamo na hoode etie bia wutie mi na wo ye obi a wonta ntimi tini wo mpom ye didie no enhye dantwa yie papa ema imboostable mixture ye ka ho asemi ema ne mpa ho da uyo obi a onom nsaden obi o honom a once ho obi no anom bi betie obi no mo ho omode ayo omunso omonom mepacho imboostable mixture yi ebe boost immune system no ne nsaden a wanom ama nkwamo no ewuo no etumi apagya na ho odin ni ebiemu afei nso so ye woni pa bebra omo stress omo nyese nipa bebre po eya kwese se wiase nipa nyina ye stress ye ho esan se wiase kɔ nanim eti ahokyere no kwa na ekoso obia pese wo hwe na busua obia pese onya ba bi di ni tituo eti adwuma ne akeka aboso bebre ye nya kwan po na me free station bi na ba minu aba ma me ne kasa o se me da 12 no ma sorry 3 me pa cho wote sa onkwamo ano na ho odi no ebe kɔfom ekɔfom so nipadua no entimi enku nti anyarewa enti wo pon anom imboostable mixture nefa yi stress free ni padua nim na wo da obi oso kra de onya brese obeda na nso so kontumi na kra insomnia ya kanfo imboostable mixture edi amam afa environmental factors so a etimi kofa o how the brain padua eye ye mfra ma ye say no ye de chemicals ese ye nsuo ena afeso weather changes ni nyina ti make of for how
This is 92.9. The radio station that other radio stations listen to.
Governor was in Parliament and then gave some issues and analysis about the construction of the structure. Our more rate. The cost of it and the he just went to Parliament to report to Parliament the costing of that particular project. But by Yentiano, not Yemra.
Thank you, Honorable Minority Leader. The document has even been loaded on the structural integrity audit
Kessben.
was conducted. And this showed that the existing head office, which was built in the late 1950s, had developed significant structural defects and was no longer fit for purpose. Mr. Speaker, we have provided a copy of this document also on the structural integrity audit that was conducted in 2019. Following this, Mr. Speaker, the Board of Directors at that time approved the development of a new corporate headquarters, citing security, operational efficiency, and long-term institutional needs as key factors. Mr. Speaker, in 2013, the land was acquired at West Reach, and I'm informed that a competitive procurement process that was approved by the Public Procurement Authority led to the selection of Mr. Goki Properties Limited as the contractor under a 10-key arrangement. Mr. Speaker, the project was initially valued by the PPA at $81.8 million, but later increased to $121.1 million.
Fachaye for the technical sound hitches out here on radio. We apologize for that. 26 minutes after 9, and this is Kessben. Honorable Mami Embra also, but in the nutshell, no, the governor of the central bank is just giving a total cost of a year project, no, a cost so a rate, and then to a far extent. What they have uncovered since their appointment as a governor. Mamintio na yentuaso income.
Yo, Mr. Speaker, Indra Yetieno, the new Bank of Ghana, the Bank Square Edino, Wabubos car, na nka esese yemfa ensi dino, eni near Yatia, ena near Aka. Near Erumnise, or say idea no crown acquiring a new land for the property no crown. I am say NDC Mahama one time now Mustati, but they couldn't do anything about it. They've gotten the land around 20. Yes, and Esha see AC a dino. Banya Ebruye binuma junu say at the time almost 30 AC sadine. Na Ghana your crisis no. Na Bank of Ghana cry make it losses. Nti Ebisa say yes, the new building is good, but why didn't they use even that money to support the economy in terms of paying even those who forcefully took their bonds from them? DDP haircut ni weni na omuyeye. Because economics say when you are faced with so many choices, you have to draw a scale of preference. And if this is true, or that is true, then you see that at that particular time we were expecting say anamobia abanu betuno, it should have a positive impact on the citizens.
Okay.
Majority of the citizens no, essentials are impact no. This is the time school Kodawo school omunye aduane ndi, but we've rolled out the free SHS. This is the time banks amount for moody bonds they call this is the time you have bobusian so much. So you ask yourself why did we do this to ourselves? Now share a dino any enkunja ne kanu krano say a kobe say $11 million. $11
million, yes.
Yes. Now $11 million at a time ye nyina yeti hwa ye bre. Now uko ICT
furniture alone is $11 million.
Yes.
The building structure costed $264 million.
Yes.
In terms of ICT costs and installation, $8.6 million. Then you come to CCTV cameras and other security features.
Yes.
The governor said, $15.8 million.
$15.8
million.
CCTV cameras, anyway. Trari.
How sophisticated are they?
We don't know. Trari, the 12 million, this is gold mine.
Refinery. Yeah. Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso. Yeah, the 15 million.
You see, when Quanti na ye kasao, and you say yeta MPP for no, maintain Addison, maintain Nanado. But the choices you have made during your regime, anchor as a so different choices, no. And no hadri. Because bisaun this 15 million nanka ya si the refinery bi Ghana e amaye nuanuma omoye galamse no entumi mboa. We will get more money. We will get more money. This is why we are talking. Enye bibinti. It is good we have a structure, but at the time that we are having the structure no, now we are sitting and Ghana for sitting and Ghana it is saying. That is why we are talking. And that is why even it is not say no Parliament own to me for Addison. Do you get me right? Inti as I say Attorney General on friend number chere nia e won the trima buanu say on to me at this particular point in time. Oya we no and all this 60.8 billion bre say yaboka. Do you get me right?
Yeah.
So how did you manage the economy? That is what the questions we are asking. When Muna generated the National Economic Dialogue, no. Because you see that the people are just messing things up. But this is, look, from $81 million to 121 to 264. Yes, sir. Ekono, sir. Yama 230. Aka ne aka 30 something. Enaka. Na bisa onse adentina omuko koye does bill of quantities new contractual agreement in Yinano. You couldn't get one figure. But MPP have that as their DNA. They be a monumental project, no, omukwa. Then they go back to revalue. They did the same at the Jubilee House. Time I see the Mampenyuku 4 times. Yekoba enuna okujeto black one mukasa time na openyi chief of staff then. Or friend Sukonuma. What's he died there? Do you remember those things? They have that. Even if you go to the cathedral, look at the figures from 100. Omo 58 no mo say with 200 be 300 intinu omo increase
400
omo yesa no na omo yiskani di no mo yiskani di tube wi adwuma no na ade na say the reason why we the NDC people have the energy to talk today and say they should also show us project bi ayedi ba yesa pardon no even this circle interchanger here kanu we brought the figure. Do you get it right? But MPP who was in parliament, as at that time, I mean, interchange no cry cracky. A man from Bessinan coffee, I didn't cry emni Bessin there. MPP have that problem. But when you want to talk, no, Monsieur NDC for say, and this none we are Mahama by cry. Didn't you hear them saying that Mahama Bob was 67 billion Ghana cedis?
Yes, but I don't know it's true from the treasury bills.
Yes, Omudi Mahama Diede.
You are explaining
it
to
is
us.
True. As I say, yeah, true. Yes. True.
I'm saying,
Mr. Speaker, I don't want to indulge you in the debate.
No, you're not indulging me in the debate. You ask the question, and I make her say, the fact remains that from the treasury bill subscriptions, 67 million Ghana cedis is what you've acquired from Treasury bill.
That is,
and the explanation that is given, no, and it's a no be na mudi etuya bond.
Debbie, Udenya, the MVP Faka. MVP for say Mahama Bobu says 67 billion. But say Niamudi ye, you see, you must extend the question or conversation. Them say inti omudi ye, inti NDC for within these 2 months, no, ye Bobu says 67 billion. Omudi ye. But MPP will not tell you that Mahama is using that money to close their mess. Sika Majibon holders, no, you have to pay. They are Ghanaians. We agree. We have to pay them. Miwa has a say no. Seska okwa contractors ni nyina yentua moka because they do redistribution of wealth into our economy.
Yeah.
One of mutu from one of mudi cheap in Sibani we ni nyina. So these are some of the things. MPP have this problem. This is the reason why some of us say debia ebekwa kokasa se minima kunta na debate o mini obia de mbekwa ko debate because they don't realize that look at, they always change figures and that is with them. If you remember the COVID time, Nanado bought different figure, Kenoforiata bought different figure, Baumiako bought different figure, Kaswa School University. That is their DNA. That is the problem. Who could do education? Edu Chumbo different Nanado bought different figure 5.7 million. Say omuni students about
address. Yes.
And ayeko who the real record no 3.5. Edu Chumbo Saba. It is in their DNA. And nunti na makachre mu nese. Adiba kwa yetumi atiti no amana nyi wo krum high corruption. Do you get it right? And nunna yetumi atiti no. Inti the 68th year independence no. Adiba kwa eya di boni. Nanka say ye bon saba say bon sama ye huni say yetumi atiti corruption. These are all
but how on earth do we spend a whole $11 million on furniture?
Yes.
What kind of furniture?
This is the reason I asked that. What is the impact of education?
Your craft here funny
me see impact of education. $11
million.
You remember the time Honorable Duajaho reconfiguring of parliament.
Yes.
I can say a Chinese restaurant.
Yes.
And that a man for bisa say into civil chair no ye need company be obey to me. There is no company. That is why I'm asking what is the impact of our education? There is no company even from that time. The artisans from Womemu. You see, we just sleep, we are just comfort in our comfort looking for places that we can import things from. Maminko Turkey, Maminko China, and up to today, there is no company. Do you know the reason why they didn't give them that project that time? Nipa Ghana ni a person famanu no, or person manu sika no nwankasa no, onko importi. You see, so that you see, well, this is the civil chair.
Yeah.
There is no company that can
it's
use
producing that
in
Ghana.
No, that was what happens then. That was what happened there. And one thing na me brother kanu me sron yankupo se man country bia boy ebusa say be wa yenwu. Say ye be wa yenwu. We shouldn't have gone. Look, the IMF ye koni nyina no. Enye sika no na edos ntio. Ye ko kire IMF say ye ni nyansan. Ye ni nyansan. Misusu meka ho. Enu nti no omo nkire se na ye di omo nyansa no. Even though ye nim say omo nyansa omo di mai no entumi ye ya difo krampo no omo mai nyansa. And this is how we are investing our money. Meaning, what can't 60.8 billion ye boka no entumi ye. And which ye start printing 77 billion edia mananado. And inflation was shoot. And this is the builder omo kwa continue seseo. E dano kra no ye nwie kra ya commission. Ye nwie dano ya commission. They are still artisans are still there today working. Do you get it? So what there is into be obi penny ice cream adintino yenye no ntemumu ntua kana yenko. And that is what we have nurtured, corruption till today. And you can see it in the MPP. Mimi they be a mebo MPP dia. I will not be shy to say it because they did the same thing in the cathedral. Send a nyamanu siko sikano ashi. They did the same thing in Palugu. Share. $11.9 million.
$12 million.
$12 million. No, yes, Paulugu Dam. Nde sikanu ni ho. Ena dam susu eni ho. Yes, for $2 million. Yes, Sky Train. I was in Parliament, Mauritius Fonchen. Ye be so mu say na mumu kra mu feasibility studies kra mu di beji sika no e wo hen. Won say ne upia jogata osi Kwame ya okunfi upia me ya okunfi a osi ko jogata. Did you see? We told them. But the person who brought us this debt so much, any Professor Michael Kwe, in the Musa losing one na Musa kofaye. He is the one who did that. He was the speaker. Ye kasa anything, any rotten thing na can ufurata di bebanu. Professor Michael Kwe, he has that discretionary power, you know. He has the power to say that the nay has won, or he has that power. Into no na approve. We said. Openya otumitino joma ama ni nananumu dachinu ya chino awichi se koshua any Professor Michael Kwe, because there is no minister in this country say udi ade ko parliament and speaker reject here, you can go for that money because those who be giving you that money are in the chamber inti yankasa na ye hunsa yankasa na ye hunsa hwesika pudu a ye di ko ha nyina sikapudo ufise sa sika ekra no ye fa ye pe kakra ka ho ye ntumi bie gold mines na ye ntu gold ankasa ewo man mu ntimi dia ne misre abankra ne ye minerals ewo ho no ne nti ameka se mo bia mbo ebusia biom ni se we have a lot of minerals gold board ni ne omo peso mo ye ni nyina no ana Bank of Ghana ni gold reserves no omo mayenye your brothers and sisters are winning the let us support them. Don't bring any white man. Make us some way a man for Jimmy do. Meeting Bia Ghana ni be yo bro ni wo hwa. Meeting a way in negative for us. A way in nipa no piki information e di akọ. No mu do man ko mu research room. No man ko hu e kwa mu di Ghana be fa so. Ama na da ni hiani. So let us use our brothers to mine gold. Ye 2 gold and ye shovel ni pickers na mudi 2 gold da. Now say to me 2 sa within 2 years, 3 years. We say Bank of Ghana. Na ye ntua musika papa no mundi so that we move forward.
Very well, I say the Honorable Daniel Kwesi Ashama is a former member of Parliament for Buem constituency in the OT region and representing the NDC. May I say, Honorable, thank you. 39 minutes after 9. This is Kessben. But my member a year erection that means no. My member
I would say. Say na se party bia fi power sa te say the minia penny sha ase na the normal trend mo say sika o anya ni o mayi o anyi sei in that kind of cycle na na ewo but so what na se na obi say ho question ba ko say
yes.
As a country, now at that time, no, now pass a year see Bank of Ghana officer now.
Was there a need for?
Was there a need? And say bank no na yet baby na you be a teno nye cry to the extent say yensi a yentimi in course one na some MPP ni. But I think say sometimes because we share the way process no crash say post COVID actual processes I think say 2021
post COVID
and this is a country you see your watching because Kwame obi anim say who see a dan a investment emfa ROI bi ambra anim ya returns on that investment na nya dia ebe mawo enene kine ya nti for me me one say at that time and looking at the figures say you see nkonyankwa
$11 million
and say $11 million ni nyina antina o my we mu yes and it boils down to the same issue now ye kan ho asem say as a country no say yantimi anhu nioma yankasa yebetimi ahwe aye no wo my we mu ye betimi ya retaining yensika, then we aren't going anywhere. Because we have figures now. I was just going through the figures.
Yeah.
It's a bit worrying. And then one baby your man ya bedu.
Cameras over $15 million.
Yes. And then sa cameras in you producing outside Ghana. And this is not the timer. Obibeka say o party and I say we are thinking about Ghana. And then 68 years old. 2 years we are 70. Until say ya share your mind way and normal decisions are ye taking. And then this is for ye they you share over the same thing. I'm also the same mistakes. The same mistakes. Because you are in this country now, yeah, to turn your fee outside, and you ask yourself, Kwame soon you be fast wa, your mind way, you bet me empower certain publics and ye artisans near the idea moment. Austria, a quote is Austria, artisans ne doors who may wanna. And they have home economy is doing well.
You go to Sweden.
Yes. Now yet and at a very critical moment. The first time I'm telling the Bank of Ghana declare losses.
Yes.
I mean, I was very terrified. I must be honest. I'm not an economist, but everyone wants to say, then it means that this country is really, we are having a problem. It is not about MPP, it is not about, but I think, say, some of these things I was here to me but
the records will reflect
yes
and the president Akufo-Addo
and you see there me yaba akoya me ka asem we ube so obi betima bie na no say yes we are banker but watimi ahwe bank bi so ama bank negu and that person is priding himself so 25 years banking experience. What kind of experience do you have? So what be a governor of a Bank of Ghana for the first time. Now, soldier break crampo, soldier time crampo governors and crown mine sad we. It all boils down to the fact, say, financial governance. A critical area. It is a CIT way. Kwame. So my way edisi kebi e kwa kwhye bibi mu sesia o se etibi say ho say sika ne de hye mu enne no den profit na emayen enne ochena ne ochenachi den profit na emayen.
We must ask those critical
you must ask those questions and yes I say you be your investments be at TTC because if you are telling me it's a Bank of Ghana see office fufra Kwame, how many people there your Bank of Ghana office say say sir another Bank of Ghana office no.
I don't know what central we are friends say district market. You know, I mean the place is so much choked. So
I
mean it's part of the justification.
Governor Bar.
Yeah, where you choked.
So then it boils down to the fact, say that is why some of us were even surprised. Ne Crawford be pushy say you see Accra. Look at Accra.
National Cathedral. Look.
Maybe any Parliament House, any International Conference Center.
How to be choking?
Now, say, but say, 3 places need year programs. I can see. Are we planning? You want lands? You want lands? Pram. No money.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah, minimum. Sorry, Kessben or Accra. So I can see the building. Shiloh, so say then
Shiloh City, yeah.
This is how we need to encourage organizations. These are the things that we need to encourage organizations. And to Kwame, to say Bank of Ghana, Crampo Timi, Enya and Anes, Ewo Kumasi, very big place. Can't they hold their meetings there?
Tell me what be. They have an office there.
No, I'm saying say a very good meeting to say yeah, and because all these things is just because you are going for Ukoshia IMF near the idea, then you want a place a very suitable, very convenient, a very standard to them. But the way Omedun, because I said this is the way no Mushisha Omonioman Omudu the Omedunana. No. Enti baby as I say ye do me the NDC for the day more canon. Sebe. And nay na mo ye de do. Na mo ye can say in the last years MPP see 16 years. Ye call your bag can be mami can be meboa.
Kufo 92 the more than 16 years.
16 years. Almost ready 16 years. Says omudi we anomko 20 omeboa. And he said, yeah, can't say mess baby or mind we more. Say MPP for nko.
But you promised to correct it. I don't think I'm mobile for 8 years.
No, but so MPP
in 2016.
In 2016,
the impression were created as though there was so much mess in this country that President Akufo-Addo ought to have corrected it. And what happened?
Kwame, Nana Akufo-Addo ought to have corrected
the zeal, the enthusiasm.
Ghanaians, Emma, MPP,
the anticipation about the
maximum support.
Yes.
And then you can't even economic dialogue near the ID. Say, if you know it's a policy scramble be more initiative, or see a how to strengthen some of the policies.
Yeah.
Because for instance, if you talk about one planting for food and jobs, one policy, or see it strengthens our policy no power.
That policy they did really work to expectation.
Kwame, and I make say
the bar chrome her. And my self-sufficient.
And no ban on to nanui. Say no one Ghana for 2 years. Almost say yantimi achieve we go into Ghana for 2 sabe. But I'm saying say going forward as a country, you know, say policy ni ya. Na say obedient de ba ya. We can still hold on to the policy and develop it. Because enya say na say ye call de bia say na ekoya. I don't think say we are going anywhere. I would say an NDC for a can. Because it is very unfortunate say MPP pa because per party your pride here who say when it comes to finance, when it comes to governance, your pride here with that.
Is it the records in here?
Records this kind of things you can't defend it. Me sometimes I know your party for be Kasaram from say but you think say you can defend some of these things. You must admit say at the end no be wrong. Ghanaians would look at areas and look at even the figure on free senior high school.
Yeah.
That surprisingly, just within a month, Pena, 5.7. You catch so what has
3.
gone and mix? I never had 3.4. I think it's just. So what kind of figures were we being fed on? And
maybe the president wasn't getting.
We had a minister. Yes. Minister, so education minister, so the background even in mathematics. Until you be figures.
Figures are never correct.
But how come these things happened? But as a party, yes, we have a positive things that we introduce into this country. That one you can't take it out for us. The last 8 years, at least, you can look at one district, one ambulance. But one district, one factory. Look, and at least you can mention some of the districts. Omo factory maybe. Yes, you can mention some of the districts.
One district, one ambulance. It's correct. I mean, I don't know.
Superb.
Yes. Yes.
But
subsequent one. No, but
spare parts, no. Spare parts, no.
See, question. Kwame, media no credit. I think say Bank of Ghana issue we. Me bra me the whole thing. I was asking myself, because this was just a COVID movie. Reviving the economy was only to put up a building for Bank of Ghana. It's unfortunate. And when you Ghana for Abano and the massive wood, but me may feel say, we are there. That building, no, Ababe Ghana assets.
Oh yes,
Ababe Ghana assets.
I know there.
So one thing say, Tembiano, oh yeah, project bia, or set this time, no. You be saying, say project bia yeah, or mine women.
And the value by
a money and returns in the next 3-4 years.
Value for money.
And yes, I say, your cost so near the contract, I can say $15 million. Near the man, near cost money in a outside Badia. If government sector, that is what we are doing now.
Yes, our contract, no, did come for $50 million.
Yes. Kwame, only say, and no nema. Abayin enu government Ghana yentimi nkwa enimu no
enkonya office furniture
enu na mo yenkwa enimu no
office furniture nkwa ye de ho
nti do nya sa contract no
$11 million.
Yes, nti wo dia one say even $9 million.
$11 million for 20 floors story. Do you get me right?
And that's a huge sums of money.
Yes. In this high level, crown be cry be a 3 million pen on Mudiato.
I think sir, we have to work out something because yet yen trade imbalance and we have serious challenge.
Yes.
And when government policies, government projects, now you push sika kesi say e dey man crofo ko kra nyoma dey abrayan. Kwame, how do we build a country? Ochina nkola bebrebe a egbe. And then omo SSSE. Oduduo ya ye kan. So means that Kwame, in the next 3 years, we are going to produce almost about 3 million young people into the job market. Yeah. And we don't even have anything.
There's no plan. The 24-hour economy must work. It shouldn't just be a say. Because, my brother, Kasan, you see, we are all Ghanaians. So. And if we don't learn to bring or create job for this youth, no, meaning, uti 4x4 munam krum ha, wankasa ube huni beto. Because the person to want to eat, as a sound the jobs must come. And the only way we can get this, as I is starting to say, expand the economy through the agro sector and the mineral mining. Yen bienusa, yenya yenusa pe, oil kranu de yen to me composun. But gold, diamond, mumma say yen sankra excavators no.
I thought said with what you are mentioning, I thought some policy for gold board no nanke beba be cater for that. But what explanations are here? It is more or less like beba be impoverishing crofo no cramo.
No, gold board is not to mine gold. And nothing a way to a banfu. Gold board say one of my 2 gold in say if you want to export it, no, a honor than it is a bodyguard. Send a smuggling Ghana gold. Ube near Alpha Kotoka International Airport, almost say 2 billion. Who could do Dubai, almost a gold about 7 billion. Do you get right? So through smuggling. So gold board is coming to regularize that. Near here can say answer na gold, no be called gold board in Chenu. Only pane too. And strengthen those people, more resources, so that they don't degrade the environment. There's a 44 forest reserve. Galam say akosenu. Say abankasa aye na niwa dream say ye di mrantie koho as a nation will do the right thing. Yen say mayen say koko, mayen say asase, mayen say inshu. So these young Ghanaians, omuntu gold na yen trio musika no. Who get the gold bars?
One will say Galamsey Asema one of the issues affecting MPP or power. And then NDC for some microphone be I shall see jump into the Galamsey.
Give the information because I cannot say you are telling lies.
Yes. And no can one of the references they were telling say some areas.
But only
they are just jumping into
MPP for Omoko Drew station they can throw in tantrums.
No, but I think say your people cannot be saints. No, indeed. Your people cannot be saints. I don't because here you him say, Kwame, adeɛ baako as a country yem bi say hon say. Unim say ɔman bia be kɔ n'anim a ne human resource critical pa. But that is why MPP free senior high school me very very critical pa. And then you talk about the TVET, the way it's me Peja TVET, you're modernizing TVET, technical vocational and education. And you're very, very critical because Kwame, they say so be a mobile phones. Your population will be a mobile phones. Because I won't say, do we even have mobile phone technicians? You train your Morgana Hana.
One very well. All right, just 30 seconds for Adusima Mena Yen comment time now.
Today is the Independence Day.
Yes.
I wish every Ghanaian
ceremony no I shall see that.
I wish every Ghanaian 68th independence anniversary. Near baby Edru Neno near Selbisa who say Ebamuse na Yanko Independence Square. We chero say Ghana no nyama enkoyi but yembo obia subo yembo nyame subo muma yen kambum na anamo papa ebetu a ebebua ye mada achi no Ghana fo muma yen tu sanamo ewo odo